trucks in Halfway Tree just outside the CVM studios. You can see people moving along Constant Spring Road in the vicinity of Halfway Tree, making their way to and from, and also West King's House Road, that's in the vicinity of the Fontana Pharmacy. So it's an overcast evening here as we head into the penultimate day before
Hurricane Melissa makes landfall in Jamaica.
We're now looking at Kingston Harbor. We're also seeing the seas out there, the waters out there getting a little more rough. You can see the camera shaking as well now.
And you'd notice that this time around the environment looks a lot more foggy than how it looked in our 3 p.m. update.
So we can see the intensity building more and more. Good afternoon and welcome to Tracking Melissa, CVM's coverage of the hurricane on its way to Jamaica. This is our 5 o'clock update. My name is Giovanni Dennis.
And I am Amoy Harriet.
Okay, and as usual, we'll be giving you the very latest from the Met Office. Now, the 5 o'clock bulletin that usually comes out or should be coming out at 5 o'clock. It's not yet released, and so we'll just give you the very latest that the Met Office had shared earlier today. So we'll just bring that up to share with you. And the release says the hurricane warning remains in effect for Jamaica as Category 4 Hurricane Melissa continues on its westward track while south of the island. Now at 1 p.m. the center of Hurricane Melissa was located near latitude 16.4 degrees north, longitude 76.9 degrees west. This is 182 kilometers or 113 miles southwest of Moran Point, or 180 kilometers, 110 miles south of Kingston, Jamaica.
Now it says Melissa is moving slowly westward near 7 kilometers per hour, and this motion is expected to continue today, followed by a turn to the north and northeast on Monday and Tuesday. Now on the forecast track, the center of Melissa is expected to move closer to Jamaica and over the island through Tuesday. Now maximum sustained winds are near 220 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. Additional intensification is forecast over the next day or so, followed by fluctuations in intensity. Now Melissa is expected to be a powerful major hurricane when making landfall in Jamaica Monday night or Tuesday morning. And this was the 2 p.m. bulletin that we would have also shared in our 3 p.m. update earlier.
Let's go then to our in-house meteorologist Javoy Sawyers to speak with him. Javoy, not much change since 3 o'clock to now?
Good afternoon. Well, there has been some slight change in the look and strength of the system. Earlier it was a 140 miles per hour top speed winds. Now it's up to 145. The system has been going through a period of after the intensification.
I'm sorry, Javoy. Could you repeat that? Earlier it was what, and now it is what?
Sorry, earlier it was 140 miles per hour. The sustained wind speed. Now it's 145. So Melissa is again intensifying further, looking to make that run to a Category 5 system potentially later on tonight.
At what level does it need to reach to become a Category 5 hurricane?
Category 5 wind speeds begin at 157 miles per hour. So it's a little over 10 miles per hour short of Category 5. Wow.
And at what time tonight should we expect conditions in parts of the island to worsen?
Well, expect conditions to continue to worsen throughout this evening, beginning already in Portland, moving St. Thomas, then Kingston and St. Andrew. As the system moves further west, the wind direction changes to more of an onshore across the southeastern parishes. So bringing those rain cells inland later on tonight. So around 8 p.m. We should be seeing increasing rainfall.
And just to say to our viewers, at some point down the line, we'll be bringing up some images that we got from Portland, eastern Portland to be specific. We spoke with Isaac Buchanan, who shared some images of, trees, fallen trees in the road, light wires catching fire, JPS poles. And he says that the wind speeds down there, it's dangerous, and he doesn't expect the electricity to last much longer. So we are expecting that essentially that's what more parishes will be feeling as the eye of Category 4 Hurricane Melissa barrels closer to the island. And of course, we're expecting landfall sometime early Tuesday.
Now, Giovanni, before we allow Javoy to go, I have to ask this question, and I don't necessarily, it's not a case where I don't take the matter seriously, because I really do. But just to play devil's advocate here and to be a bit of an optimist, Javoy, is it possible in any way that, you know, this Monday, Tuesday projection, landfall projection that we're hearing from, you know, the experts, that this date could be pushed back a little further? Because, you know, last week, Thursday, we heard that, you know, Melissa was going to make landfall then, and then we hear say it was Saturday, then we hear say it was today, and now it's Monday. Is there any possibility of the system, you know, slowing down in any way, wherein come tomorrow or come Tuesday, we're not seeing that major impact?
Well, initially, when the system was in its formative stages, there were some uncertainty based on the modeling, simply because the system didn't really have a defined center. So there was nothing for models to latch on to then give an accurate timing representation. Now that the models are pretty much coherent, there's a well-defined center in the hurricane for the models to project future positions. So therefore, the Tuesday forecast for a landfall is pretty much a certainty at this point. If it is that the system continues on the forecasted track and do indeed come ashore on Tuesday, the models have been shifting somewhat throughout the day. Last night it shifted east. Now it's shifting further west toward Treasure Beach, Westmoreland side. Expect wobble back and forth as the system begin to make that northward curve.
All right, thank you so much, our in-house meteorologist Javoy Sawyers out there in Montego Bay, St. James. Javoy, just before you go, how are things down there looking right now in terms of the weather? Earlier you said it wasn't really raining and then it was drizzling. What's happening now?
Yeah, intermittent showers and a few gusty conditions. Nothing much as yet.
All right, thank you so much there, Javoy, doing some excellent work in analyzing what's happening with Hurricane Melissa, Category 4 Hurricane Melissa, barreling towards Jamaica. Now, earlier today, we shared with you some images of damaged vandalism to Flow's network. We have with us joining now the country manager for Flow, Stephen Price, who is on Zoom. Good afternoon, Mr. Price. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Let's just start with just that. We saw earlier today in the Kasha Park area, you were saying there was some damage to your network. Could you just explain and expound what exactly happened and how bad it is?
Sure. They went into at least 6 manholes between Westminster Road and Kasha Park, along Red Hills Road, and they cut cables down there, which interrupted a number of customers in terms of their services. Our teams were quick on site, restored the manhole covers, and also repaired the fibers that were there so that customers could have their internet throughout the hurricane. It's something that's been going on quite a long time, Giovanni. I mean, it's a struggle. I mean, I would say to you, just let's say on Friday, when we were in the middle of refueling activities, we got notice after that about 1,300 gallons from 10 sites of our generators. Diesel was also taken. So it's something that's repetitive. It's our own Jamaican people that are doing it. And we're only hurting ourselves when we do these things and these acts.
Now, Mr. Price, quite a few customers, dare I say dozens of customers since morning have reported, you know, having connectivity issues with their Flow service. One, Flow shared at the joint utility media briefing earlier today that this is not in any way linked to the vandalism that was seen. But you also shared at that same briefing that, you know, Flow is aware of the issue and is working to resolve it. Where is Flow at this time in terms of fixing that?
I think largely the mobile customers who had challenges have been fully resolved. There may be some outliers that we're working through just to make sure that we resolve them during the evening and into the night. But I would say to you, almost 98% of them are fully up and operative. They did not lose mobile data. It was mobile voice, which was a challenge. And we're well on our way to full restoration on that.
Yeah, it seems more. Unfortunately, I am in the outlier. My phone is still saying.
Oh, you're among the
emergency,
2%. Oh, wow.
Emergency calls only, and it's both data and phone calls. So that still remains a challenge for most of us.
We'll take your details after the call and see, we'll investigate that for you, Giovanni.
Okay, and how are you now in terms of coverage island-wide and in terms of persons being affected, given what we're seeing with Hurricane Melissa? There are some poles and wires falling down in some parishes so far. How is your network holding up?
Holding up quite well. I think we've had some tree damage. Portland is one place. I think we've had some challenges on the St. Thomas side, but that's a lot of that is power related right now at this point. But so there are fluctuations from that perspective. We have our call at 8 o'clock tonight, where we're doing the kind of roundup in terms of all the issues that are out there, so at least we know what the target list is after the storm is restored. But likely right now at this point, anybody who has gone down because of this, it's likely we won't do any restoration activities until after the hurricane has passed. Unfortunate, but we have to protect our own employees as well in these circumstances.
All right.
So, just for clarity, Mr. Price, you said it's holding up well right now. How confident are you that it will hold up well throughout, the couple of days that we're expecting to feel the effects of Melissa?
I think the reality is, I mean, if you listen to the press conference this morning, once you get into the territory of Category 4 and Category 5, you will have challenges. There is destruction is the order of the day. You're going to have trees, etc., which will impact cables and transmission routes and those things. So we will have challenges. So it's just how fast we can restore and rebuild from that perspective. We are watching the particular routes, and obviously we are staged in terms of our employees and our sites, especially for the current path in terms of the St. Elizabeth to Trelawney track that we're currently seeing from an eye-wall perspective, but also in the outliers in terms of where we see the whole track. And that's island-wide. We're staged island-wide to respond. Once we get the all clear, we'll do the assessments over about 48 hours just to make sure we know exactly what's happening and what's needed. We have our team staged in other markets across the region, Panama, among other Caribbean territories, and they will move and we fly them in right after the all clear is done. So we start moving as soon as light.
All right, so thank you so much. That was Stephen Price, the head of Flow Jamaica there, speaking with us in terms of how the network is holding up, and also an update on reports of vandalism that took place on its some of its cables in the Casher Park, St. Andrew area of Red Hills Road earlier today. We will be going to the Mayor of Port Maria, Fitzroy Wilson, in just a moment. But before we do, we just want to also update the nation on my Transport Minister Darrell Vaz has announced via his social media pages that the highways, the toll, they're now free for Jamaicans to use the toll because of the situation that we're in. Of course, the country has been declared a disaster zone. It was declared a disaster zone yesterday by the government of Jamaica. So for people who need to make their last minute runs and swings, if you never have the money to pay the toll is now free of cost, so you can move along the northwest and the east-west and north-south toll. Okay, so joining us now, Fitzroy Wilson, the Mayor of Port Maria. Good afternoon, Mr. Wilson. I think you maybe muted, Mr. Wilson. We're not hearing you. We can see you clearly on our screen, but we aren't hearing. Okay, good. We're hearing you now. We saw some footage coming out of St. Mary, flooding in some parts, serious rain actually happening in some parts, I should say. What's the very latest? What are you hearing on the ground there?
Well, we haven't seen anything major. We would have had reports of tree falling in a house up at the near Highgate area, damaging that. It was a board structure, and one of the members of the family would have got some injury. That is mainly, but for the thoroughfare, we've been traversing the thoroughfare with some level of ease since today. Our disaster coordinator would have been around activated. We have activated approximately 10 shelters.
Before you continue, I'm sorry, Mayor Wilson. The house where the tree fell on, just how bad is the damage there? And was anyone inside?
It is damaged. It was a serious incident, and the family members, one family member would have gotten some injury. She reported that she's had injury to her foot and her dresser in her room and furniture in a section of the house was damaged. I would have communicated with her via phone and advise her to seek medical attention. So it is that she had also reported that family members and community members were rallying around with her and trying to secure what is left of the house and to see how they can repair. I would have advised her to seek shelter at our nearest shelter to the area, but she's hesitant in going to the shelter.
I'm sorry, what did they say in terms of what she said about the shelter?
Well, I said I would have advised her to seek refuge at one of the shelters that is closest to her, but she has not taken up that offer to go into the shelter, but has joined with family members and community members in repairing the damaged house to remain in.
On that note, Mayor,
So,
has there been any challenges across the parish in terms of getting residents who are in vulnerable communities out of their homes into shelters? Because this appears to be a common concern or issue right across Jamaica.
well, we have not had that challenge. We would have had persons calling in to get to shelters, to know where the shelters are, when the shelters will be opening. And as I said, we would have already had 10 shelters been opened out of a total of 55 that we have on record for the parish. So personally, we are concerned about especially low-lying areas like Port Maria and Anata Bay, but we continue to monitor as we go by. We would have been communicating and coordinating with the Red Cross, the Fire Brigade, Jamaica Fire Brigade, and as the need arises, we will go in. But I'm not seeing any hesitation. I get people just realize the seriousness of this today. So when we go into the communities, we have seen them battening down, nailing up windows, securing their properties, and so on. So I think that is the phase. We have encouraged them that come tomorrow and over the night, we will assess whatever is happening and to see how best we treat with those areas. We would have put transportation, prepared transportation, and heavy-duty equipment on hold, that if we need to move a vast amount of these persons, we would have had buses on the alert to move.
All right. That's the Mayor of Port Maria, Fitzroy Wilson. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Mayor Wilson. We do hope you keep safe out there in St. Mary and, of course, continue to update us on what's happening there.
Now let's head to another, vulnerable parish on our island, St. Elizabeth, where our reporter Omari Wilson is on the ground. Omari, what's happening?
I'm standing on what used to be a chill spot for guests here at Jake's Hotel. Now, it's a crash hotspot for waves. I spoke with one guest who is still here from England, who is staying at Jake's Hotel, and this is what she had to say.
So I'm completely prepared in terms of being looked after, because Treasure Beach is that kind of place. I came from London with my mum, who's just about to turn 81. We just went to see the musical over in London, Harder Day Come, and she was really excited to come back for her second visit. And just watching the community in Treasure Beach, even when it's not a hurricane, even when there's not anything going on, they look after each other, they look after you. So if I had to be somewhere where there's going to be a disaster, it has to be Treasure Beach, because I know I'm safe. I've been watching everyone, I've been watching the fishermen like help each other carry the boats, like they're so heavy and awkward, and like they're all coming together. I was making a video of them pushing the boat up.
You know, we have recently get hit hard by Hurricane Beryl. And Melissa again is approaching us even more serious and dangerously. I want people to be aware that never to take these things slightly. Prepare as best as you possibly can. Whatever is happening on the outside when it do start here, please stay inside. Don't try to go outside and say you're going to fix this or fix that. It is already here. Stay inside. Saving your life is more important more than anything else. So, you know, with this particular hurricane, Melissa, we would have had quite a lot of notice and we would have taken it very seriously. And all of the guests in-house at the time would have chosen on their own, quite frankly, to go home. Apart from one particular guest and her mother, Rachel, from London, which we have moved to the other side of the property across the road, just next door. But our entire Jake's team, our Jake's family would have taken this very seriously. We would have battened down, windows and doors. We have fueled up our generator, service generator, have a lot of water storage, reinforced roofs. We would have done a lot of things after the passing of Beryl, to be honest with you. So I think we're a stronger property going into this. However, we always are reminded that Beryl never actually hit Jamaica. Melissa is a much stronger storm, and it is projected at this particular time to turn and to go inward at this pretty much exact location between Southfield and Treasure Beach, which could be very, 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 life-changing for us here.
All right, so that report coming from our reporter Omari Wilson, who is stationed in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth. Treasure Beach listeners or viewers will recall is in the southwest St. Elizabeth constituency. That's Floyd Green. It was badly damaged by Hurricane Beryl last year. I remember going there afterwards with the Prime Minister when they flew over on the helicopter that flew from Kingston, assessing the damage.
I do remember seeing some drone shots around that time.
It was terrible. It was terrible, like roofs completely gone. I remember speaking to a pregnant mother at the time, and she was worried that she may have lost her baby, and I should probably do a follow-up with her because something had hit her belly and the entire roof had gone. They had to go out in the night going across to people, and so to other neighbors to kind of seek refuge. And so it's a community that is still recovering. And Floyd Green said that the other day when we spoke to him on Lead Story. And so it's one that we are monitoring closely. It's why we have a reporter stationed there because we know that that community is vulnerable. But it was good to hear the visitors there in that video saying, how close-knit a community it is. I've gone there a few times and the people are lovely. It's one of those community tourism communities in Jamaica. So it has that very close-knit feeling. There's the cricket field right there. Brian Lara came there a couple of years ago to play a match and the place rum up, pack up. You can't get nowhere for park. And it has that nice, laid-back, almost rustic feeling to it. A few of the hotels or the bed and breakfast down there, it has that vibe. And so it's unfortunate that, back-to-back hurricanes now will be affecting Treasure Beach and setting back the kind of development going on in Treasure Beach.
But Gia, that very same community feeling is something that I think is very imperative at this time because we will need each other.
And to follow up on that, that's what Daryl Vaz said this morning. You know how partisan and political and petty Daryl Vaz can be when he's on the political platform. We can say that frankly because he doesn't hide it. We're in shirts like Bun Bad Man, and he's very, very abrasive. But he said this morning, and I found it instructive, this is not the time for any peas. We have to unite together. And he was speaking at the joint press briefing held at the JPS headquarters this morning. This is no time for no pea we have to unite together as Jamaicans to get through this.
Absolutely.
And so to hammer down your point, Amor, the community service is important.
All right, so let's head now to another vulnerable parish, Clarendon, which was also battered by Hurricane Berry last year. Akeem Oret has been providing updates, since day. Akeem, what's the latest?
Thanks from studio. Now I'm here along the shoreline of Rocky Point in Clarendon, where they too are feeling the effects of Hurricane Melissa. But residents here, they are optimistic that the storm will only pass by. This they are saying because when it was Hurricane Ivan, Hurricane Gilbert, they were here. But for Hurricane Melissa now, they are saying the impact that it is going to come with, they have to evacuate. Now we understand that persons are still on the Pedro Bank, and so we hope that they will find the necessary precaution out there. They will take the necessary precaution out there, and they will find way to come in on the island before it gets any rougher out there. So I'm Akeem Oret. I'm reporting here from Rocky Point in Clarendon. It's back to you in studio.
Wow. The Pedro Bank are more fishers. There are some fishers, people who, actual fishermen, people who clean and buy fish. They actually live out by the Pedro Bank. So
but I'm happy to hear that they're willing to evacuate.
But he said that some of them are still there, and he's hoping that they come. So that's actually something that we have to monitor quite closely. We have seen instances in the past where members of the JDF have to go there and get them to come back. It's also a shark-infested area. I remember doing something on sharks out there as well. So prayers up for our people out there at the Pedro Bank. We're looking now at some images from southeast Clarendon. I believe this is Portland Cottage. We're looking at what's happening down there, some images that we got just this afternoon. We do have one as well. We're seeing some, a roadway almost flooded. Like water was just running on the road. It is a lowland area. So Portland Cottage is actually below sea level. I know this because I'm from the area, that Jackson Bay area, beach as well. So people in Portland Cottage are right now, battening down. Some of them, they know they have to move. We're looking at again at some more images there in Portland Cottage. Remember now, viewers, we have not gotten the brunt of Melissa. This is just the outer bands, and we're seeing some houses there and some buildings there with water already
and what
rising.
What appears to be happening is that, a heavy shower come down, or then you have a light shower, then a heavy shower, then a period of no showers. And already we're seeing high
water levels in Portland Cottage there. And also Rocky Point, where Akeem was just reporting from. If we could just bring back that video, the last part of it, I noticed some wires just now that appear to be, I don't know if it's fence, may I say, and it's not wires. I don't want to misreport it, but I'd love to bring about the last 5 seconds of that video that we just played for our viewers coming out of that Rocky Point, Portland Cottage area. So yes, we saw this part earlier. You can see this, what appears to be a shop there, water already about a quarter of the way up. Look at the wires there. We've seen some wires there because it's an area as well, sadly, where electricity theft is high. Both Rocky Point, Mitchelltown, Clarendon is a place I'm familiar with, and it's actually a serious issue there. People tend to do that. So yeah, we are seeing some, we did see some wires in there, so that's something that we have to be mindful of. The people there have to be mindful of as well. And remember, we spoke with the Commissioner of the Fire Brigade earlier, speaking about the dangers of fire, potential fire hazards now, especially. And as we saw the wires, what appears to be JPS wires, there are stolen bridge light wires being flung up there in Portland Cottage. We got some image from East Portland in the Sansan Ferry Hill area from Isaac Buchanan showing a fire on a JPS wire there. He did say that the Jamaica Fire Brigade treated with it, but he was very concerned that the power won't last very long because the wind is getting very powerful there and dangerous. We saw some fallen trees as well. I think we may have some images of that. We were trying to get them down. Hopefully we can bring them up for our viewers before we have to leave, because we are entirely out of time. But we saw some fallen trees blocking the road in the Sansan area and the Sherwood forest area of of East Portland. We did saw a video of that situation being treated with, though. So we saw some power saw, and the fallen tree there was being handled by his team. But it was more than one area that we saw fallen trees in East Portland. So the Sandstone area and the Sherwood Forest area as well. And I'm just going to share this the images with our producer so we can bring some of those up for our viewers. You may see me holding my head down. Viewers, of course, this is live television. We're getting in images as they come, and we're sharing some of them with you. The image I'm about to share is something that we got from the Member of Parliament for East Portland, and that is Isaac Buchanan. We just want to bring up some of these for you, and we are just now going to have them sent over to our producer.
And you know, Giovanni, it really, all of this that you see happening, it really is feeding into the fear that a lot of Jamaicans already have. So on one end of the island, you have where, you know, you may have light showers, but you're not seeing too much flooding, or you're not seeing too much heavy winds. And then another part of the island is already feeling the strong effects of Melissa, even though Melissa really have not made landfall as yet. And according to projections from the experts, we're hours away from Melissa making landfall. So already seeing all of this happening kind of makes us a little bit anxious for what the next 2 or so days, you know, holds. Already disconnections in terms of flow, in some cases Digicel, like you mentioned earlier, power lines, we're seeing some of them down, water levels already rising, you know, landslides in some parts of the island, like we mentioned earlier in our 1 p.m. Update, where Minister Darrell Vance, who's also an MP down by Portland, mentioned that there are some parts of Portland where they're seeing landslides, right?
So, you know, roads blocked, and we should probably get an update from Stephen Shaw as well to find out what happened with that. And if that is cleared. And I wanted to follow up on the point you're making just now. And here we are now looking, this is Sherwood Forest, the road blocked there. We do have a follow-up video though. We saw them working to clear it, but this was shared with, these are people driving, trying to pass. So it's
and this was
one
today?
way, you know, yes, this afternoon. One way in, one way out. Road back, and you can see fallen trees there and on the wires as well. So close by that area, another area we saw one of the wires catching fire. We do want to share the other video though, just for the completeness of our reporting, that we saw work being done to clear that area, and we do believe that by now that area has been cleared. But again, the Member of Parliament was saying to us that they don't expect the power to stay much longer because the wind is dangerously strong.
And CEO of JPS, Hugh Grant, he did explicitly say last week, I believe it was Thursday or Friday, that the power will go out. Those were his exact words. So, you know, when exactly will it go out? We're not exactly sure. But they have given us the guarantee that we will be without power for a period.
I want to follow up on a point you made earlier. I just want to speak to this as media professionals as well. Darrell Vaz at the press conference, and also Matthew Simone, they spoke about how harmful fake news is. And we're seeing a lot of it happening. And the misinformation that a lot of people are sharing, especially the AI-generated videos, they're using some official media house on the microphone, so people may think that these things are. But if you look at some of them, you can see the names of the websites, and just look for the watermark, just to kind of advising our viewers and listeners, if you're driving and listening. Look out for the watermarks in some of these videos. You'll see Sora on some of them. That's one of the AI platforms that people are using. Listen to how the voices sound as well. In some of these, I saw something that someone who is very close to me shared on their status, not knowing that this is actually an AI-generated image. You're seeing flooding happening, and that's not actually happening. It's not real. It does not help. And if you can, viewers, advise your friends, your family, your relatives, so listen, nobody with the foolishness. It's not necessary.
And you know, where misinformation is concerned, Gio, what happens during periods like these, you know, severe weather events like these, going back to even Beryl, a lot of old videos from the past begin to resurface. So you see one person posts on their status, Mandeville, Manchester this morning, but when you do the necessary research, you find out that that video was from 2016 or 2015.
Yeah.
You know?
Somebody told me yesterday they were almost misinformed. They were coming in and they heard that Marcus Garvey Drive was flooded, and when they drove past her, the place dry.
Right.
Let's go to a bit of information now from the health minister sharing that a woman died while preparing for Hurricane Melissa.
Advisory to the Jamaicans. This hospital at Spanish Town have reported that they have had at least 4 cases of citizens falling off ladders or rooftop in preparation for the storm. And it's something I've been talking about. As you try to protect your property, protect yourself and your family, you're nailing down zinc, you're cutting trees, you're going on ladders, you have to be careful and manage that very carefully, because we are already seeing injuries as a means of preparing for the storm, even before the storm.
4 reports of people falling off ladders at Spanish Town Hospital alone. I mean, the audio wasn't the best there, but you could hear him clearly saying 4 reports at Spanish Town Hospital alone, people just preparing.
Right. And bear in mind, Gio, the hurricane has not made landfall as yet. And Minister Tufton last week mentioned in a press briefing that, you know, all public hospitals are in emergency mode already, because they were expecting and they are expecting to see an influx of patients, you know, coming into our hospitals during this period. And already, like he just mentioned, we are already seeing casualties. We are already seeing injuries, and the hurricane has not made landfall as yet. That is concerning for me as a citizen, you know?
Yeah. It really is. Let's go now to the mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby. He was speaking earlier with CVM News about concerns about people not wanting to evacuate, as well, that point we were speaking about earlier. Let's hear that and more of what the Kingston mayor had to say.
Since morning we have asked some of the persons, and the homeless persons on King Street, and carried them into the shelters. About 15 of them we have taken them into the shelter at Church Street, and about 3 females we have taken to the shelter at 65 Hanover Street. And we have been processing them. They'll be having a bath, and we'll give them some clothes, and they'll be getting some food. There's a section of Raytown area, the eastern side of South Side, that's McKinney Street, Charlotte Street, and Tower Street, that we believe it is prone to flooding. They are right by the gully, and it's when the storm surges come. So what we have said to the residents, we have asked the police to go in and talk to the residents, make the announcement, and ask them to move to the Holy Family School. But the buses will be coming at 1 o'clock to get them.
All right, so that's Andrew Swaby there, Mayor of Kingston, speaking about trying to get people to evacuate. We did hear subsequent to that, because we were trying to get him live in our 3 o'clock update, that they were having difficulties getting people to evacuate.
Right.
I've been seeing online as well from other credible media entities and media workers that right across the country, people are refusing to evacuate from low-lying and flood-prone areas. So that's also something that's very concerning. I saw a video in Old Harbour Bay that you reported from that area last year. People do not want to move. And again, our head of news and sports, Andre Jebinson, did a report from Port Royal.
Right.
I've done multiple reports out there as well.
And that is a very, very vulnerable area, Gio.
They won't leave, though.
And they insist they are not leaving their homes.
They prefer. I remember a clip in that video of someone saying, "I prefer going to the mangrove with the boat, and we stay right there." So, because one of the concerns is, and these are legitimate concerns, the condition of the actual
that is the
shelters.
exact point I was about to make, Gio, because it's a two-folded situation, and if you need to look at both sides if you really want to solve this matter of Jamaicans not wanting to go to shelter. They're not comfortable there. The conditions there aren't to the standard that they'd want it to be.
But what's a little discomfort, though, if you're saving your life?
No, but this discomfort, though, in some cases, let's take what happened in St. Catherine last year, Hurricane Beryl. You know what? There's a shelter and you still get wet from the rain, which is what happens in some of these instances, some of these cases. So it like I said, it's a two-sided situation where you also can look at how these persons feel and why they feel the way that they feel. they don't want to leave the comfort of their home, even though they know that there's a little bit of risk to it, to go somewhere that they know they will be uncomfortable.
Yeah, we just want to remind our viewers of some very important numbers. I'm going to share with you 2 numbers that the Ministry of Labour and Social Security shared with us for persons with disabilities to call and also persons who need help. And then while I'm more, we'll bring up our WhatsApp number where you can send your images, your videos to your verified videos, please. No expletives, hold it sideways for about 15 to 20 seconds. If you can, do so safely. Share what is happening in your area with us. We have been receiving some of them already. We have some from Clarendon. We have some from Montego Bay.
St.
We appreciate them, St. Catherine. So thank you so much for sharing your videos with us. We'll soon run the number for you that you can send your videos to safely.
That is 876-833-0897. So that's 876-833-0897. Your name, where you are sending in your videos from, meaning your location, and what's happening in your neck of the woods at this time.
Also want to share with you, and let's see, there's our, we'll bring it up on screen now, so we'll give you some time so you can get that down. 876-833-0897.
And also, like you're seeing on the screen, your voice notes, we welcome them as well. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, we want to hear from you.
Let's head back then to St. Anne, where we have our reporter Curlin Brown right now.
Beach day or what? Would you believe that some persons are basically saying, based on what has happened today, that's it? So what if they're staying home? They're not doubting, however, that something's definitely in the air. They're asking, though, what is Melissa really up to? So our videographer, Kirk Hall, and I, we have been in Ocho Rios. We went to Miami Bay, onto Drax Hall, Preparedness. Now we are in Salem Runaway Bay. And can I tell you, the most active traffic that we have experienced so far is right here. People just, motorists going about their business. But at the same time, I noticed that several motorists had to stop at the tire shop. And I checked in with one tire repairman, and he said that's because it seemed dropping in holes. Except for one time when we noticed the sun trying to peep through, but made a hasty retreat. Nothing much has been happening. Earlier we had to have an umbrella and be wearing our raincoat, but now, no. See, we're chilling. The big question they're asking, what is Melissa really up to? And so it's basically a wait and see. And so the best advice is for them to keep watching CVM television and keep monitoring what is coming to us from the Met Service. So from the Garden Parish, of course, you could not be in the Garden Parish and not talk about the beach. So nothing is happening. Earlier, we had breaking. It was actually very still, like a blanket out there, but now you can see the waves are breaking, high tides, no doubt. And so we, like the persons who are anxious to find out what Melissa is up to, we are waiting to see how the night will pan out, but definitely something is in the air. Reporting from Salem Runaway Bay, this is Curlin Brown for CVM News as we continue to track Melissa, the hurricane.
Thank you so much for that report, Curlin Brown. Very solid bit of reporting there coming out of Salem in St. Anne.
While that report was going on, I was in studio saying to Gio, how the road looks so dry.
Remember, it's the north part, the north coast, yes? The northern part of the island. The storm is coming from this side.
You can tell the place is overcast, but the road is dry, which we're not complaining about. Let's not get that wrong, But compared to what's happening in other parts of the island, it's quite interesting.
I did mention earlier some numbers I want to share with you. This one is the WhatsApp line for persons with disabilities. If you need a social worker to come and get you to help you to a shelter, the WhatsApp line is 876-447-0444. Just repeat that for you, 876-447-0444. 0444. This is the WhatsApp line for persons with disabilities. Now, a command center at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security that Colonel Charles shared with us. The number is 876-922-9500 to 10. So that's 922-9500 to 10. So it can be 950102 all the way up to 10. 922-9500 straight to 10. That's the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. They have an operations center on standby, ready to help people. They have over 10,000 packages, Minister Charles told us, to give out to the vulnerable. They had already sent out some to some of the western parishes, and they were working on others to send out to some of the lowland and flood-prone areas, persons who are at some of the shelters. So hopefully, persons will go to the shelters if they need to in some of these communities that are low-lying and flood-prone, and heed the warnings from the authorities, Amoy.
Speaking of warning, I really do hope that, viewers, you are taking the advisories from the authorities very, very seriously, that you have done all the preparation that you can do. Make sure you have stock up on your grocery. Make sure you have batten down where you can batten down. And if there is nothing to batten down, evacuate the home if you know that your life is at risk.
Yeah, we did get some images earlier on this afternoon, and there are some mixed views on this based on the reactions from our social media. We saw some surfers out by Bob Marley Beach having quite a time. So because usually the waves aren't so high, for surfers, the higher the tide, so the storm surges, that's dangerous for people if they can't swim. But for surfers, it's ideal for them. And so some people are saying, oh, wow, this is great waves for you, man. But other people are saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. We don't quite like that. So that's something that we are monitoring. So
all right, absolutely, Gio. And, goes back into the whole matter of not taking the situation lightly. Because you recall it's not exactly the same, but somewhat the same, where let me know the date. I can't quite remember. I think it was sometime last year where we had young men playing football in the rain. And, because they're thinking, it's not that serious. They're used to doing this. It's sports,
the young boy was washed away.
And he was washed away, and he died,
Yeah. All right. So as we now wrap things up for you, let's go then to our friends from New York Times. And this is their prediction, their probability, the earliest possible impact and the most likely impact. Let's start with Maypen, Amoy.
So Monday at 8 p.m. is the earliest possible time. They're saying that Melissa will make landfall, but they're saying it's most likely on Tuesday at 3 a.m.
All right, this is the one now that is pretty much almost 8 out of 10, well, more than 8 out of 10, 83% certain. The earliest possible time, 9 p.m. on Monday in Montego Bay, St. James, and Tuesday at 4 a.m. is the most likely time that Melissa will make landfall in Montego Bay, St. James.
And then here in Kingston, the earliest possible time is Tuesday at 12 a.m., but it's most likely to make landfall Tuesday at 6 a.m.
And that's a 61% probability of that happening. So this is the latest from our friends at the New York Times, who have shared their data with us. And just before we go, just want to share with you as well some more images from across the city and various locations right now. We do have some live streams up that we have been sharing with you. I don't think we'll be able to go back to those before we leave though, but of course, join us again tomorrow. Our coverage, I mean tonight.
Later, right. We have to give them what's happening a little later on, so 7 o'clock in about an hour, over an hour, right? So we'll be right back here, or Nika, our colleague, will be here, to give you what's happening at that time, the latest on hurricane. I was about to say tropical storm, but we've upgraded to a hurricane.
This is live images now. These are live images from downtown Kingston. The road looks wet. See a vehicle driving there. The streets scanty.
Right. And you can tell that it had been raining earlier.
Yeah. So that's where we have to end things right now for you. Thank you so much for being with us. This has been Tracking Melissa, CVM's comprehensive coverage of the approach of Category 4 Hurricane Melissa. I'm Giovanni Dennis.
And I'm Amoy Harriet. Come back at 7 p.m. with our colleague Nika Lewis for CVM News at 7. See it happen.